Hello there, it is 2015, September 11th, 2015, that is, weekly wrap-up. And you didn't see a wrap-up last week because I was having a lot of fun at Totally Guitars Music Camp, International Music Camp. And it was a lot of fun, kind of a whirlwind for me last week because I went from the music camp, we did a little concert with my buddy Frank. We did a kind of little Everly Brothers thing the first night, and then Frank went home, but I stayed overnight and did a couple of workshops the following day, and then from there onto a plane to Illinois, and lots of things over the Labor Day weekend. So I've been flying around the country, and I'm back, and I'm giving you a wrap-up today. So I'm working on all kinds of fun things. I've started a few things, I started in another Nate Pruitt song, and still working on the melisma course, and that's the next lesson you're going to see. I almost released it today with the news, but I want to work on it a little bit more today. But you'll see it really soon. Maybe I'll even get it out over the weekend. If not, you'll see it on Monday or Tuesday for sure. And the melisma course is getting close to being wrapped up, actually. My intention is to show you a couple more fun things to do in relationship to how to really formulate it and use it the way that I do. And that's next couple lessons are going to be about that. Then I'm going to pick a couple of artists, contemporary artists of today, and take some of their melismas and write them all out and do that, which again is part of the way that I do melismas. Sometimes I create them myself using various different scales and patterns, and that's what the lessons are going to be about. And then from that, I just like to listen to, just like everybody else does for guitar licks, I like to listen to and check out all kinds of different singer styles, take their melismas, write them out, and then start to use them my own way. So I'm going to do some of that for you, same idea. I'm going to pick a few contemporary artists and do that. I'm not going to put a lot of artists into the melisma course. My first intention was to do that. I even sort of say that I'm doing that in the course at a lesson or two, because when I was doing that lesson, I was thinking that would be what I would do. But now, the more you think about these things, the more you think about where you should stop and start. Now what I think I'll do is I'll show you everything that I do in the melisma course to show you how to develop it and give you a couple artists as examples. And then I'll go ahead and create another whole course that's all about different artists and styles, because that's so large that I think it would take the melisma course and sort of send it off base. So anyway, the melisma course is going to be getting wrapped up. I foresee maybe another 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 more lessons, and that will be it for the melisma course the way it is. And then I'll go from that into just development of artists as far as the melisma stuff is concerned. And besides that, we still have the harmony course that I will start to work on now. I brought the harmony course up to a certain point, and I still want to do a little bit of 3-part harmony in it and get the right tunes for that, and then I'm going to go into 4-part harmony arranging, and that's a lot of fun, but it's also requires a lot of thought on my part on how I want to deliver it to you. So just kind of keeping you in the loop about what's going on, and meanwhile, in between me bringing those things up, you'll still be seeing lessons for Nate, and I've got some more Bobby Kimball stuff, and I've got some Tony Lindsay stuff coming up pretty soon too. If you remember Tony's the lead singer of Santana, and I've got some more Tony stuff coming up pretty soon, and some other artists that he's working with that are people in the Bay Area, legends, and I'm going to look forward to bringing you some of their footage and some of the things that's going on with them. So just giving you an idea of some of the things that are going on with the site. And the weekly wrap-up, what better place to talk about it. Now on the musical tip of the week, again because I was at the music camp last week, a question that came up, and I have talked about this before on the site, but a question that came up a lot that day, which I found very interesting, was all of the guitar players that were singing songs trying to figure out the true right key that they should be singing their songs in, and in relationship to playing the guitar and maybe moving the capo around, or just changing the key, and really figuring out what's the right key, what key do I sing in. And I explained, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it right now, that there's something called the tessitura. Tessitura is just a fancy Italian word, but what it means is that it's the comfortable spot or comfortable place in your range. And understanding the comfortable place in your range will help you understand what keys or key that you should be putting your song in. I'm going to start right off with saying there is no one key. Nobody can say, hey, you always sing your songs in the key of F or G or C or E flat or whatever. It may turn out that you do sing a lot of songs in a particular key, and that will confuse you even more, because you'll be saying, well, even though he said that, I do think I sing most of my songs in the key of F or whatever. But here is what's really going on. It's not about the key, but about the area within all 12 keys of your range that is the most comfortable. And even that shifts a little bit. It's a little more complicated than people would think. One of the ways that people think you're going to run into some directions to find your tessitura, for example, by the person asking you to sigh, like, well, there's a comfortable note. That's comfortable in my range, so maybe that's about where my tessitura starts. So people use that as a way to find where the comfortable place is for your range. But that's not going to work out. That'll turn out, I think, to have you key songs sometimes too low. I used to use that again. Anything that I'm talking to you about, at some point in time, I heard about it, tried it, and then learned if it worked or it didn't work in my many years of teaching. So the sigh is one of the ways that people try to find the comfortable part of your voice, and you certainly can try that and try a sigh and sort of stretch and relax and just kind of get an idea of where it is. Another way of finding the tessitura, people say, is to look about where your range is in relationship to where you speak, because you're obviously speaking all the time in a very comfortable part of your range. You're using it with your speaking voice all day long. So people say, well, tessitura is kind of around the speaking voice. And so, again, when I heard that and started to work with people, I started to say, well, maybe the tessitura is around where your speaking voice is. I read that and I heard that, and maybe that's the idea. So again, in my many years of teaching, I work with some students. But as I really start working in the recording studio and I really start working with singers, and I really start even helping singers arrange things and working on harmony arrangements and working with singers who really didn't know where they should be singing, I started to understand something a little differently. And that is, you have to sort of work out and really feel, and I think the easiest way to do it is with a major scale, is to work out some real subtle nuances about your notes. And through the magic of video, abracadabra, I've got a guitar. Now I could do this with a keyboard, and I quite often do in my studio, but I thought I'd use my guitar. Same idea. We can get a note either way. So I'm going to take a major scale to show you how to start to really feel where you might understand what the tessitura truly is. Now, the Wikipedia's definition is that it's the comfortable place in your range. And that kind of leaves it open pretty much. So what's the comfortable point in your range? For the guys, it's probably somewhere lower in the chest or upper chest, maybe just in the beginning of a mix. For the ladies, maybe higher up in their range, more around in their head voice. And that may turn out to be is where people speak. Guys speak more in their chest voice, ladies speak more in their head voice. But what we're really looking for here is some real subtleties in the understanding of air pressure. And so I think a major scale is great, and let me explain why before we do it so you understand what the subtleties are here. I want you to be able to feel something that is just a slight change in adjustment, and that confuses people a lot. A major scale has 7 notes in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th note is a repeat of the first note, the octave. So there's really, if you just play it in one octave, you've got 8 notes. And in those 8 notes, 4 of those notes always feel one way, and the other 4 of those notes feel slightly different as you move up and down in your range. Because within those 8 notes covers enough range for you to start to feel the difference in the air pressure. So if I take a C major scale to start with, I'm giving myself the note C. Ooh, and I just feel, ooh, even when I sing that note, that I'm nice and comfortable and relaxed. Now I'm not going to turn this into a lesson of all the things I do with all my students to teach them how to sing more relaxed. But if you have it together and you're relaxed and you're not activating veins popping out of your neck and so forth as you're jumping up and down your range, it's going to be easier to feel the subtleties. All right? So if we go, ooh, ooh, those last 2 or 3 notes there, I had to make an adjustment. Ooh, I feel a certain kind of tension there, subtle. Ooh, and a little bit different tension there. That's the beginning of me understanding in my body that I'm starting to go from chest notes into mixed notes, where the air pressure changes a little bit. So I know that going up is going to bring me into that. So I'm going to take it for the moment and go down half step. Ooh. Now I still had to make that ooh adjustment there, but it's easier. Ooh. Now that's even easier. So I would think that my tessitura, real comfortable, easy notes for me to sing, are around the B flat major scale right now. Well, the B flat major scale, but really around an area of range. I'm just using the scale to find an area of my range. Please understand that. Again, that because I can find a B flat major scale doesn't mean that I'm going to sing all my songs in the key of B flat major. It just means that I found the area of range where the air pressure isn't doing much. Now, depending upon the melody lines inside the songs, those melody lines may fall within the area of these notes in various different keys, and that's what makes it kind of complicated. So the trick is first to take a major scale and move it up and down in half steps and sing that major scale and feel the changes as you're going up and have to make an adjustment. And feel it where it just feels the absolute most comfortable. And that's what you've got to feel yourself. You've got to feel that in your own body, understanding how it feels comfortable. Now, going from feeling comfortable, you can start to feel the idea of the range. Now what you need to do is to figure out what key the song would be in, is to look at the song and get an idea of the most sung notes in that song and what the highest and lowest notes are. Now, it's not just about the highest and lowest notes, because that confuses people too. But the highest note is going to have something to do with the key that you're singing in, obviously. So you're going to move that key, around, and the easiest way to do that is to find about a middle note. Ooh, ooh, about right there. For me, it's that note. E flat. Ooh. Now if I take that E flat, ooh, or maybe just have ooh, E flat or F. Now I take that and think of the F note as being kind of the middle of that comfortable place in my range. Now take the song and think about what the middle note or the approximate middle place of the highest, between the highest and lowest notes that are sung mostly in this song. Get a guesstimate going and put that on that note and see what key that puts the song in. So you're looking for the middle note of the song, or the tessitura of the song, which is approximately the middle note within the range of that song, to the middle note within the range that you found for yourself. And then figure out what key the song would be in. And then try singing it in that key. And it will probably feel quite comfortable. That is how you find the tessitura of the song, the tessitura of your voice, and what the approximate good key for you to sing in. Now, you can still tweak it a little bit, and I know this is complicated, but hey, to find the perfect key, right? You might have to go, now you might do that and just go, that feels just a little bit low for me. So you move it up a half a step. Oh, there we go. Or you move it down a half a step. That was a little bit high for me. Move it down. Oh, there we go. But don't tweak the half a step higher and lower thing until you've kind of found a real guesstimate of the appropriate key by doing what I just explained to you. That is how you find the tessitura. You look for the most comfortable place in your range that your voice doesn't want to break and just feels easy for all the air pressure coming through. And obviously, if you haven't studied much voice, maybe you don't know what that is and don't have a clue, because there's nothing but tension all over the place. But that means that you have to do some exercises and learn more about singing. That's your musical tip of the week. That's the news for this week. And I'm going to get done here and run right back to working on some lessons today. So I'm looking forward to that. So see you next time.